It's 1 a.m. in Egypt, where authorities say search teams have located the wreckage of the downed EgyptAir jet.
And it is 7 p.m. at Disney's Grand Floridian Resort, where search teams have discovered the body of a toddler killed by an alligator.
And it's 7 p.m. in Orlando, where victims of the mass shooting are being mourned as new details emerge about the attacker and his wife. Hello, I'm Lynda Kinkade, in for Emerald Walker.
And I'm Michael Holmes. Welcome again to CNN Today. Everyone, a big breakthrough in the EgyptAir investigation to tell you about. Almost a month after the crash, it seems significant amount of wreckage from Flight 804 has finally been found.
Egyptian authorities say they've located several main parts of the plane in several locations, but they didn't specify which parts or where.
Debris and human remains were spotted in the Mediterranean shortly after the Paris to Cairo bound flight vanished, but crews had yet to pinpoint the Airbus A320's fuselage and those all-important flight data and cockpit voice recorders. CNN aviation analyst Mary Schiavo is the former Inspector General of the U.S. Transportation Department. She comes to us now from Charleston in South Carolina. Mary, always a pleasure, but it's never under good circumstances. But this is good news in the context of this crash. I suppose your main question is going to be which parts of the plane, because those boxes are in the tail, right?
Well, that's correct, although once they have a large debris field and what they have described as several debris fields or parts of the plane, I think they're zeroing in on it, given that they have also said, if this is reliable information, but the Egyptian investigators have also said they do not believe the plane blew apart in the air, that wreckage will be pretty well in the same kind of a debris field. It'll be sort of an elliptical array on the bottom of the ocean.
And Mary, of course, we know that no terror group has claimed responsibility for this. We know they're going to be looking at mechanical faults or whether there may have been a mistake carried out by the crew. What will they be able to tell from the debris when they recover it, when they start testing that debris?
Well, from looking at the debris itself, I mean, they will get some information about the point of how the plane impacted the water, how the plane broke apart. If there was any fire or explosion on board, that will be somewhat apparent from the wreckage. But what's really most important, and what they're going to zero in on first, without a doubt, is to look for those black boxes. Because in this crash, I really do not think they'll be able to solve it without the data on those black boxes. And the data on those black boxes will tell them virtually everything, especially the flight data recorder of all the things that were going wrong. And we know they had ACARS messages, which are those automated messages from the plane saying that there were problems. Looks like mechanical problems in the plane before it started leaving its assigned flight altitude. So I think that to really solve it, the data on the black boxes just has to be still preserved and still good, and it should be. It hasn't been underwater.
Yeah, they're very robust pieces of equipment. Unfortunately, we've talked to you so often about this, but the flight data recorders, they contain, particularly the data one, contains thousands of parameters of information, and the cockpit voice recorder is multiple microphones picking up something as small as the flick of a switch, right?
Right, and in so many accident investigations that I've worked, even the sound of a flick of a switch can be very important. I remember in one crash case I worked, we were listening to hear the sound of the autopilot being switched off. We were listening for the sound of clicks from turning off fuses and various buses in the plane. And then, of course, there are some, for example, Pan Am 103, which was a mid-air terrorist explosion. And that's all you got. You had just this big explosive noise, same thing on TW800. So those microphones can provide a huge wealth of information, or if it was a very sudden and startling event, just the sound of the event itself.
Yeah, and the data recorder, so many other clues. Mary, always a pleasure. Thanks so much. Mary Schiavo there in Charleston.